Yo, uh, we back in the place to be. What's up, everybody? We got to start this all over. We got to start this all over again. We got to start this all over again. All over again. Pontiac WYAC. In the place to be. Who can trust none? I can trust one. Who can trust none? I can trust one. Trust none. Trust one. Who can trust none? I can trust one. This is Tay, by the way I don't play. I swing across the roads like Cassius Clay. Every day, gangsterism in the place that I reside. Living while y'all hide. Y'all come through, y'all might as well glad, but don't slide every time that I get another nickel. Y'all fuck around with the nickel, trying to get a little bit of the popsicle. But need like a nigga like me, you get none. What's the riddle? Trust one, trust none. Trust one, trust none. Yeah. Trust one, trust none. Trust one, trust none. Yeah. Trust one, trust none. Let me drop 3 for your ass, 2 for those niggas. Chuck around with my dough and get my figures. 20 in the waist, y'all ain't heard of the place. Come to the town if y'all wanna get a race. This Tay, by the way I don't play. Off the ropes like Cassius Clay, like every day. And if we do it, then let it be done. Cause I spit at the stars, dude, then I chew up the sun. This is Sante, by the way I don't play. Pontiac DM3, dog WYAC. We in the place to be, y'all holler if you hear me. Nobody's near me to fear me, y'all can't get near me, check it. I trust none, I only trust one, yo. I trust none, yeah, I only trust one, oh, yeah. What's up, Mabel? I trust none, but I only trust one. What's up? Yeah, what's up, YouTube? Hey, I want you to go ahead and hit that share button. We 11 in the place to be. We gonna talk about what's going on out here. We got the National Guard. We got the National Guard. We got the National Guard at the motherfucking at the Washington Monument. I'm clapping for that. I'm clapping. 1 2 1 2 1 2. All right. 1 2 1. There we go. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me now? Monique. Hey, can you hear me now? 1 2. Let me know you can hear me. Okay. Damn, I've been up here. My goodness, I've been up here just talking, yapping my. If you wouldn't have said now, I would have stayed here for 45 minutes talking to my damn self out this motherfucker. But you know what's crazy? I talk to myself anyway, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm up here thinking I'm talking, and if it wasn't for you, I'd be up here talking like I'm up and on mute. Golly. Anyhow, everybody, what's up? And you know what's crazy? I was sitting up here rapping. I had said a dope ass rap and everything. I had a cold ass beat. I was up here rapping. I'm up here standing up. I'm up here like LL Cool J up here rapping, and I wasn't saying nothing. I mean, I was saying something, but y'all ain't hear me. Like I was really spitting. Anyhow, now that we back on track, thank you very, very, very much. Well, what a way to start off the show. Wow. But anyhow, yeah, everybody, more or less I was talking about the, damn, I'm mad, Jeter, now that you said that, because I had like 30 people pop on YouTube at once for the show, and then it went to 0. And I'm like, yo, why pop up to 30 and then it went to 0? It's because they couldn't hear me. I'm up here, oh my God. But you know what? We can't cry over spilled milk. You know what I'm saying? Mistakes happen. Hey, pimps make mistakes. But anyhow, I was talking about the crackdown in Washington D.C. and people got up in an uproar about what's going on in Washington D.C. as far as the National Guard. You can't hear me. Can you still hear me? You can hear me, right? I'm up here seeing my meter move, so hopefully I see, no, we can't. I see that right here. Hold on real quick. Shit, let me check real quick, because I don't want to get into the conversation here and can't hear myself. Okay, cool. So basically, in a nutshell, more or less was talking about what was happening with the National Guard within Washington, D.C. And, it's a lot of violence and crime in D.C. and all the big cities, in the major cities: Detroit, New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Philadelphia, D.C., Miami, Atlanta, you know what I'm saying, Houston, Dallas, all of them. And, so with D.C. being the capital, and I know a lot of people have a lot of thoughts on that. People have a lot of, their mind is a little upset right now, because they tripping off more or less what's happening with the DEA, not only the DEA, the FBI. All of these guys, or all of these entities, are in D.C. patrolling, along with the National Guard, also with the Washington, D.C. police itself. So it's a lot of agencies said they're taking the streets back. Now, so from what I'm gathering is, this is not like a martial law type of situation. This is a situation where government resources are being diverted to be able to quarantine, in a better word, all the violence, curtail the violence and crime on the streets. Now, there's pushback, kickback within the communities about that, about what's going on as far as using government resources and things like that. And I'm gonna tell you, it ain't that I'm one to go against the grain. It's just one that it's a common sense, and it ain't look. crime is off the chain in these major cities. You know, we as a people, American citizens or people, black people, whoever, we all cry about crime. But when there's a tough stance on crime, people now they cry one other way. You can't really make people happy. You got to go there and go in there and get the job done. It's like, you know, even like Pontiac has a crime problem, okay? If you look at all the cities in Oakland County, Pontiac, Michigan is more or less per capita one of the highest crime areas. And I remember like maybe a year or two ago, there was a cry for stopping the violence. There was a cry for crime to be quarantined or brought to a halt, standstill, and things like that. And I remember something came across the city council to make a vote on stop lights or light pole, cameras. And when that situation or that whole thing arose, as far as cameras being shown basically in neighborhoods or at intersections or things like that to help curtail violence or a deterrent, people had a kickback on it. And it's kind of like, what way do you really want it? Do you want crime to continue? Do you want a solution? And if you have a solution, why don't you go ahead and give the solution? But it seemed like when it's a tough act on crime or a crackdown on crime, we cry about it. You can't have it one way or the other. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, the D.C. police can't handle what's going on as far as crime in D.C. It seemed like none of the police departments in any community really can handle in the major city and the, intermediate cities can really handle the crime level. So it's like, in a nutshell, what do you do? Do you continue to let the crime continue to go on? Or when you look, it's a fine line, and I understand that, between policing and, you know what I mean? But what do you do to stop curtail crime? So I think the big uproar is that the National Guard, the DEA, the FBI, all these National Guard, Homeland Security are patrolling and deterring crime in D.C. And I think people got a problem with that. But what is the big problem? Do you want crime to stop? Do you really want crime to stop, for real? And I think a lot of times we don't. We can't have it both ways. And what I notice is, as people, we say we want some shit, but we really don't. We really don't want it. We can't really be honest with ourselves. I think a lot of ways we want shit to continue, we want things to continue to be what they are. And we're comfortable with them being what they are. And the reason we're comfortable with them being what they are is because we always gonna have something to complain about if we let things be what they are. If they continue to be what they are, we can still keep popping up with foundations to solve a problem that is not going to solve the problem. And that's really usually what it comes down to. Problems keep persisting because we don't really want to solve problems. We just want to touch up problems. We want to put a dent in problems, but we don't want to solve the problem. Why don't we want to solve the problem? The reason why we don't want to solve any problem, as far as violence, all this bullshit that's happening in the hoods and neighborhoods, because there's no money in solving nothing. There's really no money in solving shit, y'all. It's money in touching up a problem, fixing up a problem. There's no money in solving shit. That's why there's so many damn organizations around here, not only just in Pontiac, but in Detroit, but in Miami, but in New York, but in Philly, in LA. Organizations out the wazoo. But what are they really solving? Anything. How do you attack crime? How do you go ahead and solve crime? How do you do it? How do you do it? So when there's an aspect or a way to go ahead and solve or really put a major dent in crime, then when there's a way to go ahead and put a dent and put a movement together that can really put a major dent in crime, then people have a problem with it. So you can't have it both ways. My thing is, okay, I see the National Guard, and they said they rolling that out in Chicago. They're gonna roll it out in all these and look, what else can you do? Chicago is out of control. Chicago is out of control as far as what obviously the leadership in Chicago is fucked up. I mean, just let's keep it real. Chicago has the worst leadership, mayoral leadership possible. Like, look at really what's going on out there in Chicago. And with the mayor, I mean, the mayor of Chicago got people switching parties. That's how bad it is. The money that they turned over and gave to immigrants that really halted black and real brown people that's really in poor white people that was in Chicago, forfeiting them and going, and continue and promoting, crime. That's how I'm looking at how Chicago is promoting it. And it's like that in a lot of cities, and then you see organizations pop up. And you see organizations pop up that say they're fighting crime or putting a dent in education and this and this and that, and they ain't doing nothing. They just getting grants to do shit, but they ain't making no money. And that's how it go. That's how it go. I've been able to see how things go from the behind the scenes in a way with certain things. And I don't think it's really anything in far as solving any type of social problem. There's Band-Aids for social problems. So at the end of the day, we kind of really solve a crime issue or really put a dent in it? And I'm going to tell you, putting the National Guard and the DEA, all them folks out there, I'm going to tell you, that's going to be one hell of a deterrent out there in D.C. And I know people got a major problem with what's going on in D.C. And I'm seeing a lot of stupid posts. But what about July or January 4th or whatever, they talking about the insurrection or whatever. They ain't got shit to do with what's going on right now. You know what I mean? Do you want crime to pursue and continue? Because the same crime element that white people is afraid of is the same crime element that black people are afraid of. Just as much as they don't want to live next to the criminal, we don't want to live next to the criminal. So fuck it. If they have to bring in extra entities for things to calm down, to curtail, what's the problem? What other solution? All the solutions that's been kind of going on for years and years and years ain't been working. So what do we want and how do we want it? We can't have it both ways. It was the same thing like I told you in Pontiac, Michigan. Welcome to Pontiac WYAC. The same problems. 4 or 5 years, or not 4 or 5 years ago, a couple of years ago, there was a majorly bad incident that happened. And there was a coalition for violence that was put together. Okay? There was a coalition for violence that was put together. Some solutions came to the table, as far as my understanding. I don't know precisely how well implemented they were, or how they executed they were. But I know some things came to the table, like cameras, and I think they had a sergeant from Flint talking about how they installed cameras in certain locations and areas, and it curtailed the problems, or it curtailed the violence or the crime in certain areas, and it kind of helped. But when that was brought to the people didn't want it, and it was voted down. You know what I mean? So it's, it come to the point where, and what's your solutions? What do you really want? What do we really want? And I don't really think people want solutions. I think people want to have continuously things to talk about and complain about. Always. Can't find something good in what the good is. You know what I'm saying? How you stop the violence, I can't really say that there is a clear-cut way to stop violence. Like you really can't you can't stop racism. But you can put some shit in place that's gonna really make it hard for people to commit it. You ain't gonna stop it. But the only way, in my opinion, that you can stop violence when crime is you have to have a presence. For real. And I'm not saying occupy shit like no army and stuff like that, but what else can you do? What else can you do? I know, look, if I'm a criminal and I'm about to knock somebody over the head, I'm not going to do it if I see a police officer. If I'm about to rob somebody, the only way, if I'm not going to do it if it's police. So you have to have, in order to curtail crime and violence, you have to have presence. And that's what the White House is doing right now, in my opinion. Ain't my opinion, that's what they said. They're putting foot soldiers out there. They're putting more men and women out there to help law enforcement to be able to curtail what's going on, far as violence and far as the violence and the crime. You have to have a presence out there, a paid presence, just not no people in yellow shirts talking about we marching through the city with no law authority, can't stop nobody, can't even carry a gun. You can't even really use it. You know what I'm saying? You got to have official people at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, this is what a lot of people be tripping me about. This is like, you know, they say, well, yeah, at the end of the day, people mad about what the man is trying to do. I'm just so glad that I have a mind of my own. And a lot of people, you know what's so funny, Jeter? People cannot like you, or people cannot like me, right? I mean, they probably can't stand me, or they probably can't stand you, right? And let's say, Regita, that you were the president of General Motors, and they don't like you. They can't stand you. Why, Regita? She ain't qualified to be no damn president of General Motors and this and this and this and that. And you come into General Motors and you make some good decisions at General Motors. And people hate you so much. You turn General Motors around, you make General Motors profitable, you start getting better materials and being able to hire more people or whatever the case may be, you making the work environment better. You love and you're doing a great job as the president of General Motors, but people don't like you so much, Regita, that no matter what you do, fuck Regita, she don't know what she's doing. She's, you know what I'm saying? That's how people is about the president. No matter what the guy doing that makes sense, they don't like him. They stupid. I have to say they stupid. Because no matter if I don't really like a person, I'm just going to call it what it is. If I don't even like a person, if I see that they made a good decision, a decision that was wise or thought out or profitable or conducive for society or the situation, regardless if I like them or not, because I'm not a feeling person. I try so hard not to get caught up in my feelings. I try to let shit go. And I try to live level, and that's where I'm trying to live my life in the middle, y'all. I'm not trying to get too fucking high, and I'm not trying to get too low about anything or how anybody feel about me. I'm just doing Sante. I don't give a fuck how you feel. I'm going to do the things that I like to do and think how I think. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm able to make the decisions that I am. That's how I'm able to come on here and don't give a fuck. I can do what I need to do because I'm always going to try to make the right decision, not to hurt anybody. I'm trying to make the right decision that's going to be profitable for myself, family included, and not hurt anybody. And if a person don't like me, that's their problem. But I can't make decisions based off if motherfuckers like me or not. And this is what people do with the president. We don't like him, blah, 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 blah. Even if the decision is good. You know what I'm saying? And I happen to think that the decision actually is pretty damn good about trying to curtail the violence in Washington, D.C. And I think a plan should be devised for Chicago and other places around the country because it is out of control. Yes, but does he does a lot of shit because the people don't like him, not because it's good for all of the people. Well, even as, you know, you can't 100% get everybody right, but as the president, who has ever made a decision that made everybody happy or all of the people? You can't. You know what I'm saying? You have to, the president is privy, just like you being the president of General Motors, you being the president or a principal of a school or any type of leadership decision, you are privy to information that nobody's privy to. I'm going to go ahead and take it one step further, even like with the Iran conflict. You know, with the bomb or the bunker buster. I wasn't really happy about the bomb. I really wasn't happy about. But them people got knowledge and intelligence that we not privy to. It's just like, so when decisions are made, we might not understand them why they made. You know what I mean? But we got to, we might not know why they're made, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't the right decision overall. It's never a great idea to drop a bomb on nobody and lose life and kill people. But is it, was it, and on the long run, was it a proper thing to possibly do? Probably. Did it stop shit from escalating? It did, you know what I mean? So, but it's not to defend what the man is doing. What I'm trying to say overall as a president, what I'm trying to say is overall as a person in their life, what you got going on. And this is a microcosm conversation, and I want people to chime in if they really like to. Don't base your fucking life based on how other people look at you. Or what, you got to, a lot of people don't make decisions based on how they're going to be perceived as far as who are their surrounding people. Well, I want to do this. Well, fucking, I'm so-and-so going to think of me X, Y, and Z. Or if I don't do this, then people were so worried about what other people, they stalemate themselves because they thinking too much. You know what I mean? How they going to be perceived. And nobody really does nothing for you. If you really think about it, Regina, who really does, and if there is anybody that does anything for you, it's only one or two people. Everybody else is irrelevant. That's why you might as well just do what the hell you want to do. And I mean, making the right decisions for yourself. And that's what we got to do. Put your trust in yourself. Trust in yourself, trust in your gut, believe in yourself, and make the right decision based on what you see and the knowledge and the wisdom that you have gotten this far. So I'm just talking about decision making right now, and decision making and how we as people like to focus on the problem. And I've been one, and I'm a person like that. You can get focused and bogged down with the problem without really trying to make a wholesale without trying to make a real wholesale solution. Even if you can't 100% eradicate the problem, what are you doing to even do all you can do to stop the problem? And I think the problem in DC and crime everywhere is out of control. Everywhere is out of control. Everywhere is out of control. So what can you do to really negate that? You got to have a presence. And if the regular police can't do it, well, what do you do? If the regular police can't do it, what do you do? I'm not talking about have an army state. I'm not trying to talking about no martial law type, because some ignoramus is going to come say some shit like that. That's dumb. Nobody's talking about having no type of martial law type of situation. But how can you stop violence? How can you stop crime? You have to have a presence. And the consequence got to be crazy. And it got to be expediently and fast. So I'm not saying that, break laws I'm not saying break laws to enforce the law. I'm saying anything that's happening right now is within the confines of the law. And it's funny how, even I be seeing politicians talking shit. They don't even know the law, and they politicians. Yes, but we're sending the homeless people. Now I seen that also. So maybe you can educate me on that. I don't know 100% what's really going on with that virus with the homeless people, but there should be a place for homeless people to go. Why are people mad about putting the fucking... That's another thing. Why are people mad about putting the homeless people somewhere? It ain't like you can... Look. Get this. Make me understand this. Why are people mad about getting the homeless people off the street? Getting them actually somewhere they can be in shelter. People tripping that it ain't no... Oh, they're getting the homeless people off the street. You're kicking the homeless people off the street. Well, damn. Ain't that what we're trying to do in the first place? Get the homeless people off the street? Well, he thinks they the problem. I didn't hear that part. But homelessness, I'm going to tell you, homelessness is a problem. And let me tell you something about me that people don't know. At one point in time, I was homeless. Early early 20s. It wasn't long. It wasn't long, but I didn't have a place to stay. And I'm going to tell you, when you don't have a place to stay, you're going to think about doing some crime. Because how nice and laid back and cool I am and was and still is at times. Thought about knocking somebody over the head and taking their shit. I did. And I got close to doing it. Because when you're homeless, you desperate. You have nowhere to go. You have no money. You're scratching to eat and this and this and that. I was homeless for a minute. Very few people know that. Not long, but for a minute. And when you have no place to stay, you do become a problem. Because you're not only thinking about when you don't have nowhere to stay, you outside at night, you really don't have no money, you don't have no resources. And you're thinking about how you can get it. So homelessness is a big chunk of the problem. If you ask me, if you get people off the street and give people a place to actually be, and then probably some real help, you know what I'm saying? But you got to get them off the street, number one. You know, but people trying to say, I think what people trying to say is that they're getting put in camps or something like that. I don't know. I got to look some more research that. I get that, but I can't kick them out and expect them to be, okay, let me read that. I get that, but you can't kick them out and expect them to just be homeless somewhere else. So far as my understanding of everything is that they're going, I don't know if it's like a pre-made or I don't know, like a camp. I don't know. I got to look more into, but how many problems can you really solve? And let's also think about this too. This is the nation's capital. The nation's capital. If any place in the country should be dope, if any place in the country should be that's place to be, it's the capital. You know what I mean? And if the capital is looking fucked out, fucked up, and for real, like, nah. So not ever said them get to the place. He said he's kicking them out. So basically jail. So I gotta look that part up. And I while we online, I'm going to look that up and see if I could probably bring that on here, because I would like to see what he said about that. So, and this is the beauty right here. Let's see what he said. Trump on homeless people in D.C. Let me see what come up. Trump vows to remove homeless encampments. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna pull this up because I would like to see what this is all about. I'll just try to let me see. I'm just want to know if they get help or just put them in camps. And that's a good question. And that's a good question. A good question to find out. I really want to know. I want to know what they. And I think there's going to be some help element. You can't just. There's some type of humanitarian. It ain't just kick people out and put them in a camp and jail. That's illegal. That can't happen. That cannot happen. Like, you can't just put homeless people in jail or camps because they homeless. That's against the law. That's against their civil rights if they haven't committed any crimes. So that can't happen. You know what I mean? Like that. That can't happen like that. But you just can't allow, you got, if you can prepare a place for them, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, we talking about, okay, I want to hear it out of the cat's mouth. Let's see. I want to play this. Let's see here. I want to see if I can play this on. See if I can play this on the hookup here. I'm gonna go ahead and get this together. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna put this on the screen. I want to hear what the man say, and you know what his idea and his thoughts is on this. Let's go ahead to share my screen real quickly. We'll do. Let's see what he got to say.
President Trump is touting a new executive order saying his administration's got a better way to tackle homelessness across the country.
And today he made an example of D.C. to try to make his point. Sydney Persing is live outside the White House tonight with the very latest. Sydney?
Yeah, well, President Trump told reporters plain and simple he is sick and tired of seeing tents full of people right in front of the White House. He believes that his new executive order is going to help people who are homeless get the care that they need and also make city streets safer across the country. But as you're about to see, not everyone agrees. Before President Trump left for Scotland Friday, he once again threatened to take over D.C.
We've got to get the mayor to run this city properly. This city has to be run. You know, I have the right to take it over.
The president this time using a federal takeover of Washington because of how it handles homelessness. Trump said he'd remove encampments by the White House and complained to reporters about their optics.
When leaders come to see me to make a trade deal for billions and billions and even trillions of dollars, and they come into this tents outside of the White House, we can't have that. It doesn't sound nice, but
Trump's remarks come just one day after he signed an executive order to make it easier for cities and states across the country to remove homeless people off the streets and put them into institutional treatment centers, in certain instances, encouraging the use of involuntary civil commitment. The White House said its new approach will restore public order.
I cannot emphasize enough how damaging this order is.
Jesse Rabinowitz works for the D.C.-based National Homelessness Law Center and said institutionalization does not work.
Ethically and effectively, forced treatment doesn't work.
Homelessness is solved instead, Rabinowitz said, by providing folks with housing, support systems, and health care.
This executive order doesn't do any of that. All it does is make it easier to punish people and to institutionalize people who have nowhere else to go.
The president's order also directs federal support to programs focused on rehab and treatment and prioritizes giving grant money to cities and states, crack down on camping, loitering, and squatting. And we did reach out to the mayor's office tonight to try to get a response to everything President Trump said, though they did not provide one. Sharin, Kenneth.
All right. So we had a little bit of education there. So let me go back to here. Boom. There we go. So, yeah, I did listen. I did hear. And what I've gotten from that is that there's going to be some type of humanitarian effort for it, but some type of civil service has to be done. Like, so, no, you can't just put cats in camps. And if that's what he's doing, and I got to look into that, that's wrong. You can't do that. You can't force labor, if that's what it sounds like. Because it almost sounds a little bit like forced labor, but there always also has to be some type of solution. What do we do to combat homelessness, and what have we done to combat homelessness, and who can really combat homelessness? So if Washington, D.C., so no, what I'm saying is this. So what I'm saying is, what has the previous mayor in any of these cities done for really homeless? Some people would rather be homeless. That's some bullshit. You know, you think like, if there's an opportunity, I've known some people that if you had the opportunity to either go to the shelter or remain homeless out there and do your thing where you have freedom to move around ambiguously and do whatever, some people have chosen to be out in the street. And that's their choice to do that. Let me see. You said that's not her. I gotta hit more about that, Jeter. But I ain't saying you wrong. I'm not saying you wrong. But that ain't the only problem. That is not the only problem. I don't think that homelessness is the only problem. That's a chunk of it. That's a chunk of it, and that needs to be. But what do we do though? What do we continue to do? I mean, crime is an immediate problem. So what do we do? As a nation, as a community. I mean, I'm talking about the shit that's going on around here. Hey, yo, I know, and it's crazy. It's like, yeah, hey, look, but let's talk about this though. Let's talk about this, not to divert from what you're saying, because you're making a valid point. You can't force anybody to do nothing or put them in no camps or nothing like that. But what do we do? You know what's crazy? Because I've been seeing lately the Pontiac press on Facebook. Somebody got a brilliant idea to do the Pontiac press, and it's showing a little stuff that's going on. You see, I've seen where they have some fights and some young people, some things going on around the city of Pontiac, and they show things, and it's our young people, majority of it, and it's crazy. It's real disturbing once you see it. It's scary, like you see in our young people. And like, what's the solutions for that? And a lot of people, and a lot of times we feel like rec centers and things like that are the solution to that. But somebody even made a great point. I think one of the people that actually was running for mayors made a point about this. They said, just because you create a rec center doesn't mean that the crime element of the young people ain't gonna go to the rec center. So you build a new rec center and all this, but the element of the bad kids gonna go up there and influence. So what really stops it? And I think this is the conversation that me and Reg was having last time I was on here. Like, what do we do? What can you do? Do you keep throwing money at the problem? Or are we just too far gone? It's over. It's just what it is. Can't nothing save us but God himself, the second coming, which I really kind of feel like that's where the point where we at right now. But if there's one last ditch effort, like but some type of authority has to be shown. You say new police cause new police, as they pull up and leave it starts all over again. They get tired and pulling back up. Right. It's like, what do you do? I don't know. It almost gives you a dang on headache, because it's like it feel like it ain't no solution. But then when a solution come, that's a little bit over the top solution, we have a problem with that. That's what I'm saying. Like, where's the line drawn? Like, we know there's a major problem, but do we just continue to go at the pace that we going and just things continue to be as they are? Or do you put some hard decisions that have to be made temporarily to get shit up under control? Because, not saying if the people going into camps is right. I'm not saying that. But what is the solution? What is the solution overall to all of it? And I'm like I said, you can't solve it 100%. You can't solve none of this 100%. None of it. But how can it be rectified? Because really, in a country like this country, nobody should be really homeless. This country has had enough to be able to make sure everybody has had or has a place. But it's the leadership that we have had previously and all these years coming up to this that's put us in the position that we are in now. Not even just talking about the president. Forget the presidency. I'm just talking about local and statewide. Who's really making the differences around here? Who's really trying to make solutions, even if they hard and they unpopular? Forget if you like the person or not. If you like the person's personality, you like how they talk, you like how they dress, you don't like, you know what I'm saying? What about if they really getting, but if you saying that ain't it, that's what I'm saying. If you saying that ain't it, what do we do then? That's all I'm asking. What do we do? If that ain't it, what they doing, what is it that we do? Because, I mean, as an immediate solution, what do you do? What can you do as an immediate solution? And you don't have 2 years to, if you don't have 2 years to really fix this problem, and you trying to fix this problem immediately, what do you do? And as you are fixing this problem or trying to put a dent in this problem immediately, work on a solution, a permanent solution that is a little bit more pillowy. But you have to make a solution right now. Hey, look, at the end of the day, hard decisions just have to be made. And I'm not saying that's the right decision, but something has to be done. Because I see this actually coming to Chicago. Whatever they're trying to do in D.C., it's coming. It might be, depending on how this work out. Depending how this work out in D.C., they're gonna try to roll this out some other. They're gonna try to roll it, or they're gonna try to roll this out in cities. And I think D.C. is just the test and proving ground because it's the nation's capital. But I think they're gonna roll it out other places too. Take the funds and place. I don't think. All right, so let's talk about that. Take the funds and give the people, give them housing, jobs, and put them in school. All right, let's be real though. You put homeless people or most people that didn't have to work for anything in housing, okay? You put them in the house, majority, I'm not saying all, but let's look what's gonna happen. Most of them gonna fuck the house up. They're gonna be, a lot of homelessness has to do with drug use. There's gonna be a lot of people using those. Let's just keep it real. And put them in, they ain't trying to go to school. They not trying to go to school. You know what I'm saying? So, and just keep it real. And it might be the unpopular opinion, the unpopular thing to say what I'm saying, but because if you can't just, okay, you give people housing, there has to be some type of regulation or rule to that, or they're going to be homeless again. Or has to be something going to, because they're going to destroy the home. A home is a major responsibility. Even if you have an apartment, a house is a major responsibility within itself, but even if you have an apartment, it's a major responsibility. Cleaning, upkeep, maintenance. Who's going to be fixing these homes if they architect or they're crime ridden? So the same mentality of the people that's homeless has to change. So you just can't give people homes and stuff like that all the time and just think that's going to solve everything, because it can a lot. It can solve a lot, but it's going to be a lot that's unsolved. But I'm saying I think that's a great start. What you said, I do think that's a good start. But there's not homes available right now like that, as we know. As we know, there's people looking for homes right now, can't even find them. Property is sky high as far as the rent. Rent is up for everybody. Is in places to stay is up for everyone. There's a shortage of homes to even buy right now, or properties. So I'm talking about immediate solutions. So I'm talking about with this immediate solution, right, you can't save them all. But in the meantime, while you're trying to sort them out who won't help and can get help, you wasting a lot of precious time to stop shit. So I say, this is why I say, go ahead and do some hard measures within the law, within the confines of the law, nothing illegal. Within the confines of the law, make hard decisions, and get some shit done right now. And while within the confines of the law doing that, start doing what you said, implementing, getting extra housing, getting for trade programs. But you got to make, because housing take time to create. Jobs take time to create. Education, well, we know. He's the president, build them. Then you will have jobs and some homeless people. It is a cycle. It is a cycle. But here's the problem. Here's the problem. He is the president. So when he does make hard, that's what I'm saying. When he does make hard decisions, people don't like him. They don't like him. So, but if Obama said this shit, then this is the greatest thing happened. It should have been happened. It's the same thing when Obama was putting people in Guantanamo. Prime example, when Obama was putting people in Guantanamo Bay, whatever the hell you want to call it. He was putting people in there and breaking up families. There was a little outward, but it wasn't a lot of kickback. But this man put people on Alligator Island. It's the same fucking thing, really. You know what I'm saying? And people it's just because people don't like the guy. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is there's an immediate solution, and the immediate solution is that you have to make a hard decision right now. And housing is not available, but I'm not saying put homeless people away. What I'm saying is you have to create a solution within the confines of the law. And, he's sending them to institutions. That's where he's starting. Well, I gotta really look into that, because that's, if it's, put it like this. It wasn't right then and it's not right now. So I gotta look into this. I gotta really look into this. Because no matter if you are the president, you can't do things outside of the law, outside of executive order. And the president is the president at the end of the day. There is powers that he does have and that he can do. Each and every president did some shit we really don't know about. The thing is that he's doing it and he's telling people what he's doing. A lot of this stuff that's been happening over years and years and years have been done in the background. And we don't even know. You know what I'm saying? No, you don't. She said it clear. I gotta, just because she said it don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? I gotta really find out what he said, not what she said. I want to know what he said. You know what I mean? So I gotta hear what he said, because the news is the news. So I really want to go over 100% what he said and really make sure I got an understanding of that. Now, if he putting people and rounding them up and putting them in camps and institutions, that's wrong. You can't do that. And I don't think that's what's going to happen. Like you just rounding people up and putting them in jail. That shit not happening like that. That you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Just because you homeless. No, you can't just lock somebody up for being homeless. You can't do that. I don't think that's what's happening. No, you can't do that. But put it like this. If you have an encampment, if people are camping out in front of the Capitol, put it like this. If people was out here with a tent, if I grabbed my tent right now and went to City Hall, and me and 40 of my friends took my tent and went down in front of the City Hall and put my camp up in front of City Hall, Pontiac or Auburn Hills or Waterford, wherever it is, they're going to move my ass out of there. You know what I'm saying? You can't have campments right up in front of the White House, in the back of the White House. You can't do that. Come on. So, and I know that's stuff that they dealing with down in D.C. So again, I want to know what is the major solution. If this is not the solution, a real tangible solution that people are talking about. So not because you don't like the man, put feelings aside. And if this was a problem, and here's the go. If there was a problem a long time ago and everybody knows this has been a problem for a long time, why hasn't anybody else ever did it? Why haven't anybody else done it? Listen to it again, explain more as she is in the involuntary surrender, we'll call it. Okay, let's try to find something. I want to find something again. Let's try to find something, but I'll make sure it's a short clip. Because I don't want it to be too long. We just played a 2-minute. Let's play this. I just want to see what this is. Okay.
Picture there at the White House. It's almost 10:30 there on this Thursday night. Been talking about some of these recent instances of crime there in the District of Columbia that have caught President Trump's eye, so much so that he has talked about taking over control of the district, getting rid of home rule for the district, having some type of enhanced federal presence there in the district to tamp down on some of this crime. Well, that is happening. We have a statement in from Caroline Leavitt, White House press secretary. She says this: Washington, D.C. is an amazing city, but it has been plagued by violent crime for far too long. President Trump has directed an increased presence of federal law enforcement to protect innocent citizens. Starting tonight, there will be no safe harbor for violent criminals in D.C. President Trump is committed to making our nation's capital safer for its residents, lawmakers, and visitors from all around the world. Well, let's go out now to the streets of D.C. Fox 5 D.C. reporter Josh Rosenthal. He joins me. Josh, good to see you here. This is just breaking in the last few minutes here, isn't it? What is this enhanced presence going to look like here?
Well, Andrew, thank you for having me. I'll put it to you like this. We're in the Foggy Bottom neighborhood of D.C. This is right on the edge of George Washington University's campus. Typically, busy place like this, you would see D.C. police, maybe GW police right across the street over there, Metro stop. You'd probably see Metro Transit police. Now, though, it appears as though we're going to be seeing an even larger law enforcement presence beginning at midnight tonight.
This has to be the best run place in the country.
And so the Trump administration says D.C. residents can expect to see an increase in federal enforcement as soon as Friday. Comes days after a 19-year-old former DOJ official was violently beaten during what police say was an attempted unarmed carjacking in Northwest. It also furthers a pledge the president has made about the district many times before.
We're going to have to federalize and run it the way it's supposed to be run. We're looking at D.C. We don't want crime in D.C. We should govern D.C. I think the federal government should take over the governance of D.C.
Thursday after.
All right, I'm listening to. Okay, let's keep going.
Afternoon, a White House official told Fox 5 details of the operation have not been finalized.
The crime is ridiculous. I could show you a chart comparing D.C. to other locations, and you're not going to want to see what it looks like.
In fact, according to police, crime is down significantly in 2025, with statistics showing year-over-year reductions in homicides, sex abuse cases, assaults with a dangerous weapon, and robberies, amounting to a 26% drop in violent crime overall. Do you feel safe walking around town?
Very much. I feel very safe in the city, yeah.
Northwest Thursday, overwhelmingly, people we spoke with were against the president's plan, although not all.
I think that is probably unnecessary.
I mean, it depends on how they carry themselves. That's my honest opinion.
If you saw National Guardsmen in fatigues on the corner, you'd be okay with that?
Oh, most definitely.
Your response to the president saying he might bring in federal law enforcement as well?
Man, chill out, Donald, man. Chill for a second, man.
Yo, my man said, chill for a second. So I gotta listen to it all. I can see the kickback and the pushback. I can see people ain't gonna be used to. But let me say this. I think that at the end of the day, I thought DC was kind of ran when I was younger. I thought DC was kind of ran by the government, by the federal government. I didn't know that it had, its own entity as far as policing or police officers. You know what I mean? I thought that it was really ran by, federal agencies, not knowing. But but you said, hey, my man said, chill out, Donald. Let's see what he said. I'm
You okay with that?
Oh, most definitely.
Your response to the president saying he might bring in federal law enforcement as well?
Man, chill out, Donald, man. Chill for a second, man.
Tonight, just in the past couple of hours, we did get some additional details from the White House. They say more than a dozen agencies are going to be involved in this effort and that the operation is going to last for at least 1 week. Andrew?
Josh?
So that's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting. I like to see it. I like to see what the results going to be. I like to see ultimately what the results going to be. I know a lot of people are not interested in seeing what the results going to be, but I'm definitely not for more policing. I don't like to see the police behind me, or I don't like to be feeling like I'm being watched. But at the end of the day, there is a crime problem ultimately. And we got to, and I know what you was talking about, the homeless issue. I didn't hear that come up. But I do know in all our major cities, there is a major crime problem. And there's a lot of solutions to it. But it's like we just got so far down the rabbit hole far as neglect for the less fortunate, mismanagement of money overall from the country, municipalities and local and statewide, that it perpetuated homelessness, joblessness. We can't put the blame on this man that there's no jobs and shit like that. We can't. Or not even one president in totality. It was a combination thereof, you know what I mean? But we are where we are today because of decisions that were made 15, 20 years ago, you know what I mean? So, but people don't want to admit that Bill Clinton, the reason why we don't, I'll be straight up, the reason why, and I don't see why people thought this was a great idea, but the reason why General Motors and all them had a terrible time and bankruptcy and going through what they went through is because of the things that Bill Clinton did with the North American trade, with the NATO, and shipping those jobs. That's when the plant started to close. That's when things changed. And I can just look at it a microcosm for our Pontiac, the community I'm surrounded with. Once General Motors left, once the lifeblood of, really that was the lifeblood of Michigan. But once the lifeblood of, especially a city like Pontiac, but I'm going to take it even a step farther. That affected places like Compton, California, because even though we from Pontiac, but what Compton, people don't know, Compton, California, provided a lot of the tires. Goodyear and stuff like that is Goodyear and Michelin, all that type of stuff. The rubber plants were out there. So when the auto industry got hit, that took a big toll on them too. So listen, mistakes was made years ago that's leading us to where we are now, but I know we at a point now where hard decisions have to be made far as a country and far as leadership. Who you decide and who you decide not to have far as in leadership in positions like that. My thing is, we might not always like the decision, but the hard decisions have to be made. Somebody has to make these hard decisions right now. And it ain't about liking the person. It's about, is this the right thing to do? And if it isn't the right thing to do, why hasn't the right thing been done? And who did we put in charge prior to make these decisions to why we're in this position? But you can't blame the person that's in position now for those types of things, that to make decisions for what's for what we in store for right now at this moment. So, in a nutshell, y'all, I just wanted to come tonight, and sometimes I rub feathers a little harsh, but that's what it is. I have a little fun. I think what I'm going to do, yo guys, is I'm going to come on tomorrow morning. I have a routine. I'm trying to stick to it, y'all. I do cycling every morning. I do cycling almost every morning or every day. I get up before my day really starts. I get up and do a little cycling, a bike ride, maybe a minimal, I think around 10 to 15, 10 miles minimum, 15 round trip. And I do that every day, and that's really helped me get my day started. You know what I'm saying? It helped me clear my mind. It helped me get my mind on what matters, and trying to just level myself. You know what I mean? Which I find that nowadays I really need to do things like that, just level out. So I get up in the morning and do that. But I'm gonna get up tomorrow morning and I'm gonna come in and do a morning show, and I kind of been wanting to do that. I just never really, I haven't committed to it because I've been so busy lately working. But doing the morning show honestly is, or doing these type of shows or doing something like this, y'all, is actually good for me. Getting up and coming on here, having a good time talking to you guys, good, bad, or indifferent. We might disagree, but just coming on, having a good time and talking. So what it is that I'm trying to accomplish is to just get on here. I'm probably be talking about local news first, things that's going on in the vicinity of Pontiac and the surrounding area, Metro Detroit itself, Michigan. So local first, then regional, and then from regional, go ahead and merge into national. And then anything in between, and open up the phone lines, and if people want to call, they can call. But just kind of have to, kick off my day. Just trying to kick off my day active, so doing some things that I like. Because how many of us out there really find ourselves doing things that we really don't like doing, and we doing majority of our life is really spent taking care of responsibilities for others. And a lot of times, including myself, you don't really find time to really do something that you like, or you shortchange yourself. And we call it sacrifice, you know what I'm saying? And what you end up doing is sacrificing your time, your health, your state of mind, just to make sure that pretty much everybody else is pretty much cool. And you really don't kind of like set that time up for yourself to do it for you. So you got to find things that you like to do that give you a peace of mind, or some, not only a peace of mind, they give you, happiness or joy. You know what I mean? And do those things and dwell on those things, And so me coming on is actually one of those things that I like to do. I like to come on, kick it. And so that's what I'm going to do. I really want to get consistent with it, you know what I mean? And get consistent with it, and then not only get consistent with it, make an impact, but more or less be consistent, have fun, and not long, but, start my day off like that. I'd like to give a big congratulations to the two finalists, Mike McGinnis for the city of Pontiac and Kermit Williams, that were the two finalists for, I ain't gonna say finalists, but made it through the primary of the city of Pontiac mayoral race so far. Give a big shout out to them. It wasn't easy to do. I know campaigning is hard and tedious and careful process. So congratulations to the both of them, and I know they're going to be really, stating their platform, what they got going on, and what they want to contribute, and continue to tell the people about themselves. So big shout out to them. Shout out to the people that ran and didn't, make it past this part of the race, the primary. Gil Garrett. Let's see who's the other. Gil Garrett, Alexandria T. Riley, Deidre Waterman. I don't know the other two as well, but everybody ran the race that they felt was the best. So, and it's hard to do. Again, I like just to commend people that just do go after the things that they like. Succeed or not succeed, and success is relative. You got to gauge what the success level is, as far as your life or what it is that you're trying to accomplish. But long as after you go after it, whatever it is that you're attempting to do, as long as you go after it, y'all, you're doing well. You're doing well. Just go after what it is that you say you want. You know, and if you go after what you say you want, you succeed, even if the outcome isn't what it is that you want it to be immediately, you know. But I guarantee you, at least you can have that fulfillment in your heart saying, you know what, I tried and I did my best. So my hat out to all of them, because it's not easy to put your name in a race or be talked about, you know what I mean? Especially in a little city like Pontiac, because I've seen people run for the mayor and people just talk about them, and it's when you run for some mayor or you council person or whatever the case, whatever it is that you're doing, especially in a small city, everybody know everybody and everybody know your business and everybody know who you used to go with and all that type of stuff. When he shouldn't be the mayor and this blah 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 blah, it's different from a big city, like Detroit or New York. But when you're in a smaller place, everybody know all about you. So they got millions of things to say, But hey, so even put yourself into the position and that's why I'm being quite honest with you. That's why some people haven't ran for mayor. You know what I'm saying? Because they already know what's coming. They already know that people got a lot to say about them, and they don't want to go through it. They ain't ready for it yet. You know what I mean? So it takes a big person to want to go ahead and put themselves through that. So a big shout out to them. Tomorrow morning, I got everything set up, man. I just say, I'm just going to do it. Stop procrastinating and just do it. So with that being said, y'all keep God first, family second, and you third. And in that order, you should never be made last, because the last is made first. And with that being said, you guys, y'all have a good night. Sleep tight. Make sure to say your prayers and thank God for your life. Amen. One love, peace.